Copy that.
Welcome, everybody. We are back again. It is Monday, the last day of the month, March 31st. And of course, we are coming at you with what happened over the weekend. I'm going to tell you straight out. I'm Brian Bacchus, and you're not. And I'd like to introduce you to my Get Fresh crew.
I'm Jamal Smith. Welcome, everybody.
I did like this.
I like how she popped in.
I popped in. And I'm Tony Bailey Rains.
Tony Bailey Rains.
Tony Bailey Rains. Happy Monday.
Tony Bailey Rains.
Yeah.
Are we going to get a song on that?
We might.
Well, I thought we already
You
did.
know us.
Yeah.
We're not playing.
Yeah, no joke. That'll be part of the album.
Tony Bailey Rains. Tony talks. Tony Bailey Rains.
See, you know what? There's the lyrics right there. I already know.
Hey, welcome to episode 54, season 2, you guys. This is a sunshiny presentation on this gloomy day.
Don't forget, we're going live on both Brian Bacchus brands and AltadenaTalks Instagram. So follow. Don't follow me. Follow AltadenaTalks.
And YouTube.
Oh yeah, YouTube. Yeah. I was trying to because we got the new booty on here, AltadenaTalks Instagram. So we're trying to get them.
Oh, it's finally working.
That. No, not the Facebook one yet.
Oh,
that's I'm hoping April 1st, which is gonna be weird because I'm gonna say it's working, but it ain't gonna be because it's April.
Right.
Fooled ya. We're gonna say a lot of stuff tomorrow that's bizarro backwards.
Bizarro.
Be prepared. You see, we got things going today. You know, I wish I should have took Tony out and then did her intro and then popped her in. That
always can do that.
So we could premiere.
You can always do that.
Okay, so we're gonna do that right now. We're gonna pop it out.
Wait till tomorrow for Tony Talk.
No, we're gonna do it. Nah. People need to know. They need to know. They're gonna see it right now. We popped ourselves out so you can have the spotlight.
Thank you, Brian. I like that. I like that blue, and I like that little.
And then you can come in like, got the bubbles with the champagne glass going up. Like what's your thing, Jamal? Funky fresh, dressed to impress, ready to party.
I don't know why that lyric stays in my head. Funky fresh, dressed to impress, ready to party.
Ready to party.
I love that.
That's going to be our theme when we open up our event to have fun. You know, we have a AltadenaTalks mixer. Ready to party. All right, Jamal's going to go ahead and take over, and we're going to do some background stuff while he does the announcements. We got some special extensions he's going to announce. So here we go. We out. We out.
Do this, as I always say. Let me do that. All right, you guys can still hear me, right? Thumbs up. Yay. Okay, cool. So here is the very first announcement. Today is still the last day to get your FEMA and SBA registrations in. It's the deadline. However, unlike what we thought, and we were told by numerous locations and places that they were not going to extend the right of entry. Well, they did. So the right of entry has been extended to April 15th. Everything else shuts down today, but April 15th is the deadline for you to do your opt-in for the right of entry. So this is good news for those who didn't get a chance to do it yet. Now you got a couple weeks. The Disaster Relief Claims Centers or Claim Assistance is still available at Jackie Robinson Center, Community Center on Wednesdays from 9 to 1 and Fridays from 1 to 5. That's 1020 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Pasadena. And Then the disaster recovery centers, still 9 to 7, Monday through Saturday. Ours is at 540 West Woodbury Road in Altadena. And then the one-stop permit center is located at 464 West Woodbury Road, Suite 210 in Altadena. They're open Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 6 p.m. and from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Now that's to walk-in. If you want to set up an appointment, you can actually have a one-on-one. You would reserve this at recovery.lacounty.gov/rebuilding/1-stop-permit-centers. Now, these are only going to be available Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. or Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Again, the distinction here, this is an appointment. The previous one is for walk-ins. Now, there will be the weekly Altadena community meeting today from 4 to 5, and that's going to be on the LA County website. LA County YouTube channel. I forgot to put that in there, but it's at youtube.com/ hold on a second, County of Los Angeles. I believe that's what it is. Let's go back here. Yep. So, and you can also get notifications. If you go there, you can actually click to be notified when this starts so you don't miss anything. What's up, Mo? Glad you joined, bro. Union Station, our folks at Union Station Homeless Services still have giveaways on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They have hygiene kits, new bedding materials and towels and clothing. They're going to have assorted gift cards, items for babies such as diapers, wipes, and formulas. There'll be sack lunches, shelf-stable foods and snacks, as well as full-size body washes, bars of soap, shampoo, and conditioner. This is at their adult center at 412 South Raymond Avenue in Pasadena. And if you want more information, you can reach out to via email at eatonfire@ushs.org. The Dena Relief Drive main hub is at Pasadena Church, 425 Sierra Madre Villa Avenue in Pasadena. This is every Saturday from 11 to 4 until they tell us they're going to stop. And they do need volunteers. In order to do so, go ahead and scan that QR code. Tomorrow at 9:30 is the open session board meeting for the Altadena Chamber of Commerce. The attendees, they'll have special guest presentations by Major General J.E. Kelly of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Julia Juarez, Deputy Commissioner, California Department of Insurance, as well as Mark Wingate, the debris task force leader at FEMA. If you go to AltadenaChamber.org, they should be providing the link for the Zoom meeting. Our friends at Will's Central Kitchen, again, have a couple hubs around the city. They have portable water stations as well and farmers markets. The local hubs, one is at Iglesia del Nazareno, and Mondays through Saturdays from 4 to 7 at 3541 Brandon Street. And then the other two, one is at Gordy's Garage Parking Lot at 843 West Woodbury Road in Altadena. The other's in Sierra Madre YMCA at 611 East Sierra Madre Boulevard in Sierra Madre. These locations are open from 11 to 3 and reopen from 4 to 8. Monday through Sunday, sorry. And then Pacific Oaks is offering a distribution center on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. They're providing women's clothing, baby formulas, adult diapers, gloves and disinfectant wipes, face masks, and air purifiers. This is located at 45 West Eureka Street in Pasadena. And tomorrow is the last day for Taco Bell's Taco Tuesday. They're going to have their taco truck from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the parking lot of Food for Less at 1329 North Lake Avenue in Pasadena. So go on. Tomorrow's the last day to get your free tacos. We out here market every Wednesday at Fair Oaks Burger, 2560 North Fair Oaks Avenue. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They can have hot food, snacks, clothes, shoes, jewelry, mini hygiene kits, face masks, and more. You will have to provide proof of residency in order to receive these items. You can actually volunteer with LA County and at Loma Alta Park every Saturday in April from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You're able to help clean up, do some painting, and as well as plant some plants at Loma Alta Park in preparation for the reopening in May. This is at 3330 North Lincoln Avenue in Altadena, and lunch will be provided. One thing I haven't mentioned each time is personal protective equipment will also be available, and you can register at the bit.ly link listed on your screen. The Eden Fire Collaborative is a group of local nonprofits, community groups, cities, county, and state officials dedicated to helping those affected by the Eden Fire. Their mission is to provide a coordinated response and clear communication to ensure that resources, assistance, and information reach the people and organizations that need them most. You can actually get more information at www.edenfirecollaborative.org. Jazzy Jam 2025, the glam prom dress and suit giveaway. They had their second installation of this past weekend. This is where they're providing vintage and new suits and dress corners and providing everything that the high school seniors need for their special night. Again, they're serving all high school seniors who were affected by the California fires in order to get prepared for their prom. So the next two events will be this weekend, April 5th and 6th, and then the following weekend, April 12th and 13th. It's sponsored by Jazzy Jam for Empowerment in association with Soul to Soul Solutions, LLC, and will be available each of those days from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Paseo. That's at 300 East Colorado Boulevard, Suite 139 and 141 in Pasadena. And in order to participate, you do have to register, and you would do so by scanning the QR code listed on the flyer. And tomorrow, somatic meditation with Salome Wellness Collective. This is where you get to discover the Salome method, which is a groundbreaking meditation practice designed to awaken your energy centers, engage all five senses, and harmonize your mind, body, emotion, soul, and spirit. This will begin tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Paseo Outdoor Mall, 300 East Colorado Boulevard, Suite 151 in Pasadena. It's hosted by Ariel Salome, and you can register by going to the bit.ly link at bit.ly/D as in David H -SALOME. And I'm going to mention this, and Tony's going to add a little bit to this. Coming up also tomorrow from 5:30 to 6:30, NAACP Pasadena branch is inviting you to attend a presentation and discussion regarding voter rights for displaced residents of the Eden Fire. The special guest will be Shirley N. Weber, PhD, California Secretary of State. And to register for this event and the Zoom link, you would go to the bit.ly link below, which is bit.ly, bit.ly/4 lowercase h, capital K as in Kappa, lowercase f as in flag, capital W as in water, number 4, and lowercase g as in gamma. So, Tony, do you want to say anything else about this?
Hey, yeah, thank you. I wanted to just pop in and speak on it because Friday we had a discussion about this, and I want to make sure that, like both Brian and Jamal, that we always correct or give accurate information. So on Friday, I said, make sure you go and get a P.O. box somewhere within the district so that, no matter where you live or move to, you can still have your voting rights for the Altadena area, right? We know 5th district for our county is one thing, but that would vote for our supervisor, which we're not doing that now because she just got reelected, Catherine Barter, and she'll be in for 4 years. And that's the last of her term because it's term limits of 2 terms. But I think I just tried to make it real clear, like make sure whatever you do, you get, whatever. The biggest thing to know is it doesn't matter where you live right now, as long as you have your ID and do not change your address. It doesn't matter if you forward your mail to where you're living, whatever city you're in. You could be out in LA by the airport, you could be in Ontario, you could be in Monrovia, wherever. As long as you keep your permanent home address for whatever your address was in Altadena, you're good. Or Pasadena if you were impacted as well. But as long as you have that address, you are good. And I was at a meeting at church yesterday, and Brandon Lamar, who is our president of the Pasadena branch of NAACP, who's our youth pastor, was there. And I said it, and he said, wait a minute, Tony. And he took the mic from me and said, correction, because we talked to Dr. Weber, who is our Secretary of State, and she said that no matter where, as long as you do not change your address on your license, you will still retain your voting rights for where your home was. And then he said, let me text this to you, Tony, put it on your show tomorrow. We are having this event on Tuesday night. It is an open meeting. Just go to that link and register. But it is an open meeting for anyone to hear that has been displaced, to hear from our Secretary of State regarding your voting rights for any upcoming elections, midterms, or anything. So you will not have to change anything, and she will give really explicit details about the process.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That I know clears it up for some folks who are concerned if they weren't able to get a PO box or something. Thank you,
Definitely.
Tony.
Thank you.
Yep. All righty, and then next we have Ready, Sweat, Go. It's an Eaton Canyon Fire Community Give Back event featured by Jackie James. Come out for the Pilates, stay and create the community. Class sizes are limited, so pre-registration is required. It's April 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th at 1 p.m. at 945 West Foothill Boulevard in Monrovia. And folks, we'll have an accurate link for you guys tomorrow. And did you want to speak on this one too?
Yeah, we don't even have to have a link because Jackie told me yesterday also at church, like, hey, Tony, I'm having this event. It's going to be in Monrovia, but can you post it? Can you talk about it? I said, I'll start talking about it on the show and we'll do it all the way through. So it is every Saturday in the month of April. There's a question around the 26th because the 26th is the big event that's happening in Pasadena, the kind of welcome home event that Victory is throwing in the heart of Old Town at Memorial Park. So she may cancel that. But right now it's still tentative. But the other Saturdays, starting this Saturday, the 5th, and the 12th and 19th, come out. It's Pilates. She will have the reformer machines at this, and it is free. She wants to give back because she is an Altadenian too. And so she wants to give back to people to help them with the breathing, the exercise, things that can help with your body because it might be very tight. And this is, if you've never done Pilates, amazing the way it tones and shapes your body and everything, but really, really good for you, really good for your heart, very low impact, but extremely effective. So she's going to do that on those Saturdays. And then after that, she's trying to find where in Altadena, or at least Pasadena, she can bring it to the park and at least do some mat classes that also will be at no cost. But these events are free, and I just encourage everybody to go out, relax your body, your brain, whatever it is. And I'm sorry, we will have to get a correct link because you will have to pre-register because of the size of the classes for where it's being held. So yeah, I'll get that from her today because the other link wasn't correct, and we'll have it tomorrow.
Awesome. And
Thanks,
I encourage everybody to participate in this because being a former big athlete of like football, basketball, and all that kind of stuff, I never thought I would enjoy Pilates or it would work for me. I've tried it before, and it's amazing. I mean, if you stick with it for a while, you actually feel really, really good and get a real decent full body workout. So I encourage you to check this out. Cool. Thank you, Tony.
And it's a building that's on the corner of 5th and Foothill in Monrovia. It's right past the border of Arcadia where 5th is, but it's on the north-hand side of the street on Foothill, right at 5th. There's like a pet salon next to it or whatever, but it's on the north side. So I'll make sure that I get that link from Jackie today, the correct link, and get that on here tomorrow. But you're right, Jamal. I've done Pilates and it's amazing.
Yeah, I never thought I just like golf. I never thought I'd enjoy it, but I actually do.
Yeah,
It's a good thing.
and good for low impact as far as like if you can't run or different things like that on your body,
joints and all
but
that
extremely effective. And you do things and you're like, oh yeah, this is great. And then that night or the next day, you're like, oh God, I'm so sore. I didn't know I had those muscles and all that. So it's really effective, but very low impact.
Know you do have those muscles.
Exactly.
They can get sore. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll be talking about this up until the end, guys. Thank you again, Tony. So then next we have the Finish Line presents the Dina Family Reunion. This is the one at Octavia E. Butler Magnet Middle School. This will be Saturday, April 5th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's going to be sports games, vendors, food, music, and more. And this is located at 1505 North Marengo Avenue in Pasadena. This actually sounds like a pretty fun family event as well. Then also on the 5th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Loveland Community Development Corp presents Youth Empowerment Festival for the families affected by the Eden Fire. It's a dynamic carnival-style event designed to uplift and inspire young people of all ages and their families who have faced hardships due to the devastating Eden Fire. So it's a free event, so definitely go ahead and check it out. And that's it for today. I'm sure we'll have more coming up a little bit later. I know Marcus forwarded to me do this because remember I had us in a different scene.
Oh, I was like, how did he pop out?
So that's why all I do is just click back to the other scene and we all would have popped back up. But anyway, Marcus and a couple people sent me some stuff, so I'll incorporate those later. What's up, E-Dub? Hey, Karen. Yo.
Oh, so today, good morning, Antoinette. Where last week Mama was like, oh yeah, they're so smart. So you're not claimed today. No, I'm just playing.
I don't know.
So,
recap for the weekend.
Recap. So there were a couple events. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go. I was a gardener this whole weekend. I was pulling up garden beds and doing all this stuff at the crib. But I do know that there were some events, and I wonder if anybody attended outside of us as well. Love to get some feedback as we bring up some of these events like that one at the hotel, the recovery, and
there's actually two of them.
Thing with the LA Sentinel.
Yeah, I did not go to that one. I had a cousin that lives in LA text me asking me, was I going to it? And I was like, He was like, why? I said, because LA Sentinel don't do nothing. They're full with Altadena, Pasadena, but now they're hosting a thing. That's my own personal feelings and thoughts, right? And he was like, oh, okay. I was like, you going? He was like, yeah, I was going to give you a hug. And I'm going to say, you live in LA, bruh. What you coming out here for to our, but I didn't. Unless he sees me now, then he'll know I was thinking that.
I was just about to say that.
Which it don't matter. He knows his cousin, right? He's like, yeah, Tony gonna say whatever. But I did not attend that. I think you were going to more Jazzy Jam stuff, Brian. I didn't.
I was going to, but I didn't make it out because I'm still dealing with my wheel situation, so I don't really take any chances. Plus, it was my girl's mom's 98th birthday, so I spent the whole day planning for that.
That is his girl, though. He's
yeah,
cool
she's 98.
He's cool with her like that.
Yeah, that's the home girl. You know, we hang out. I just got to scream a little bit. But
so
what? What'd you say? Starbucks attack though. She be acting like she can't hear you until she
hears.
Yeah, you know what? You ain't got to go get me no orange juice. I'm like, okay.
And then there was something else, right? Another event
the first
for
choice.
Building that first choice thing. Did anybody attend that? E-Dub, did you go?
Yeah, we want to hear feedback on everything. Hopefully,
he does probably work. He worked 24
oh
hours.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Gotta get that money.
I had to be at a memorial for someone's brother on Saturday, like at 1. So I went to that. But I was also a gardener this weekend. I always have to do. And springtime is when all the weeds
Spring cleaning.
My backyard looks like a jungle, but I bought a new electric lawnmower that is self-propelled. Y'all, if you don't have no self-propelled lawnmower, go get
one finger touch.
Go get you one. No, but you do like this. Like I have all these Ryobi tools. I love Ryobi, probably because it's like that greenish, whatever color, right? So all my power tools, my everything, because I got for real power tools. I don't have
with the switchable batteries.
With the batteries.
With the 40 volt or the 18 volt?
Well, no, not the 40 volt, because the 40 volt batteries, cost about $100 by themselves. And all my other power tools are all, baby, you could have came this way, are all 18 volt. And so
you see this battery, $200, $250 for one.
That's a 40 volt?
No, it's an 18.
Oh,
but
see, my 18.
It's a super duper
but I have the 18s
battery
too that are not 200. But either way, so because I've bought my power tools, a lot of them over the last 4 years, right? Because it don't matter. When I tell you I got every power tool there is, from every kind of saw, I got a table saw, I got everything, right? And so they're all the 18 volts, but some of them take 2. And then I even have a battery thing that you could just click them all in and charge 6 at a time. So I could have got either
that in my life.
Yeah, I could have got the 40 volt, or I could have got the one that takes 2 18 volts. And I was like, well, it comes with 2 18 and I got about 10 18s at the house. So I'm going to just get this one. And you pop both of them in the same time. But when I tell you all you got to do is stand behind that joker and hold, it will take off because you can adjust the speed on the self-propelled. I was like, oh, I like this lawnmower. So if anybody,
can I go in our next door neighbors? Let me cut your yard real quick.
That's how I felt. Like, took 15 minutes, 10 minutes to cut the whole front yard, and I was like, oh, I like this. So yeah, that self-propelled mower it's almost like you're able to do a riding lawnmower, but you're standing behind it, right?
Right.
Because you just push and it goes, and I had to get used to adjusting the speed on it because too fast was making me run. I was like, no.
Dog behind that bad boy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So, but then
she'd be like, backyard, okay, speed one.
The backyard looks like a jungle, so I'm gonna have to take it out there and do that. But
disappeared like that.
So that gardening.
I know that's her doing all.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it does if you're not careful. One thing I did want to kind of chime in on, Jamal, that is not a weekend recap, but I did learn this over the weekend. And you talked about it a little bit with the ROE being extended until April 15th.
Yeah.
However, there's some more information I got. So there was a request from the governor's office to not only extend it, but also expand it.
Yep.
And the press release that came out Friday was that obviously the extension till April 15th, but it also now includes multifamily houses or properties and apartments or condos, because before it didn't. And it also includes commercial. But what they're going to do is you put the ROE in, and if you own a multifamily dwelling, meaning, you got a lot and there's several on it, or if you were a condo owner or a townhouse owner or whatever in a complex, or even some that are apartments but people own them, like, those big apartments down on, what is that, by the Wrigley Mansion on Orange Grove, or when you're going down to the 110.
Oh, yeah.
Like those are big apartments, but they're each owned, right? So if you had an apartment that was owned, a townhouse, a condominium that was owned, you are now eligible, because they expanded it as of Friday, to put in an ROE for you. It was at first only the HOA they could put the ROE in. Now they're requesting each individual owner put an ROE in, and the what you laughing at, crazy? And the somebody put something or text you. And the HOA put the ROE in, because then they'll evaluate each property and where FEMA wasn't going to do that before, they will, and it'll be covered. And again, if you're the owner, you put it in, the HOA puts it in, because some HOAs don't have enough insurance, is what I found out. Because where my sister lived, their HOA looked at their insurance and they realized the one they thought they canceled last year, they didn't. So they have two policies. So all of theirs being torn down is fully covered. But I think that's what has been happening. If a individual owner has insurance and the HOA has it, and there's not enough that, can be recovered, now they're saying that each one should put one in, and the HOA, and then whatever's assigned will go to FEMA for that.
What's funny is they made that change during our call. Remember when I said Captain Barger was having that meeting at the same time?
Yeah.
She was making that announcement right at like between 10 and 10:30. It was
okay,
funny.
Cool. And then the commercial is if you were a building owner, because they weren't going to do any commercial properties. Now it's on a case-by-case basis, where if you put the ROE in by April 1st, the 15th, I'm sorry, not the 1st, excuse me, the 15th, they're going to look at each one and go on. And some people that have commercial buildings will be able to have FEMA or Army Corps of Engineers, whatever, cover it and do the debris removal. So I know that you had said it, and I thought about it when you said it, but I wasn't going to pop in. So I just wanted to kind of expound on that, because there may be people that thought they didn't qualify and now they do. So it's not only extended for single family homes, but for all of those others as well.
I'm glad you did, because I had read that. I just simply didn't expound on it, and I'm glad you did. But also, and we've mentioned this website regularly, and it's always referred to in all the county documents. For more information, go to recovery.lacounty.gov. But if you go to the debris removal section and ROE, it actually talks briefly about the updated deadline and who's covered by it, right? So it briefly covers what Tony had mentioned, and you can get more details if you want to look more into it and get the actual change, probably from the governor. We can provide it later, but great information. I know that I saw in several locations that, hey, I talked to, what is it? The general at the U.S. Army Corps, and they're not going to make a change. They're not going to extend the deadline. And then lo and behold, they extend it, at least for this. So
because they haven't been able to touch everybody, and it's not going to be fair for a lot of people don't know.
Well, I don't think enough people participated, either yay or nay. I think that's really what it was.
They didn't know if they needed to opt in or opt out. I mean, you should opt out so that you won't have no problems. Just like Sherry's mom's house wasn't touched last week, and I called her brother and was like, "You guys opt in yet?" "Oh, we didn't know anything about it." I'm like, "Man, I've been doing 50 podcasts talking about this every time." So first 10, 15 minutes, you good.
And there's also some special inclusions. I'm going to pop this link. Brian, it's going to be a long link.
It's going to be a long link.
Here, I'm going to put it in our private chat. It's already AltadenaTalks they put on it or whatever. But they sent me this as well, the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. It's a public assistance update from 3/12. And I don't remember us covering it here on the show. So when the FEMA people met with me or called me Friday, emailed me Friday, she said, "Oh, I forgot to give you this in case you haven't talked about it." But generally, public entities and not private nonprofits, which they call PMPs, have not been eligible for inclusion in the private property debris removal program. However, under some circumstances, they may be able to receive, after there's like a formal request, and that's the one-on-one, an approval for a special inclusion. So for anybody that has a public entity or private nonprofits that had a building that was damaged, if you're not aware that there is a special inclusion, you can click on the link. Brian's going to put it up once he shortens it or whatever.
You got to download that. That came straight from your email, so it's taking me to the email login.
Yeah, I'm not able to.
Okay, let me download and.
Yeah, we can always put it on our website.
Oh,
yeah, but you gave me the link from your login to the website.
PDF. Okay, hold on. Let me download. And then I'll send it over in our WhatsApp. as a PDF.
Okay.
But let me find my WhatsApp. Oh, here it is right here. So, but there is an inclusion, a special inclusion that people hopefully can be made aware of through this. And then, Lord, what is this thing called? Special inclusion. Now I just downloaded it and can't find it. You know, that'll make no sense. Hold on. I hate when that happens.
Technology.
It happens. I was trying to show somebody some reels I made the other day and couldn't find them. They're right there on my phone somewhere.
Right. Like, what are you doing?
Right
like, I'm going to hide this from you. I'm going to save it way over here.
So, yeah, it's a special inclusion program, though, that you can potentially, okay, here it comes in our WhatsApp, you guys. Give me a second. Okay. Drag and drop. Okay. And that is from Cal OES, which is the governor's office and Office of Emergency Services. And there is a special inclusion request to FEMA to that program if you qualify as a private, nonprofit, or public entity that you can submit. And if they approve you, your building or whatever that was damaged that is not normally covered may be covered, and they may go on and do it as well. You still have to do the ROE, which will be by April 15th. Then you have to send a request letter, which it gives the justification. You got to give the APN number, which comes from the county assessor. That's your property number and address. And then site map and photos of your damage and insurance information, including coverage for debris removal. So then all of those things have to be included. They will then send over, do whatever their review is. And if it's approved, they will then go on and clear your property. But there is a special inclusion. And I just found out about that, I think Saturday night around 8 something, she emailed me, or Friday night, and I saw it Saturday. So just want to make sure that that information is in there as well. I'm going to be meeting with FEMA, and primarily FEMA. There's another organization that reached out to me this weekend called After the Fires USA. I'm going to be meeting with them Wednesday at 12. And then at, I think, 2:30, I'm going to be meeting with FEMA, because both of them are like, we see that you're a community leader and we want to help you in long-term recovery. So that means hopefully I'll be getting information on how FEMA and then how this other After the Fires organization can either give us guidance, provide us with information, and if there's assistance for long-term recovery, because that's where we're headed now, right? Obviously, long-term recovery. So really glad that people are reaching out to say, hey, we want to include you in this or that. The After the Fires found me from the LA Times article that was in the paper a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago or so. And then FEMA, because they came to the town hall, have said, you hosted this and you're doing things in the community, and we see you out there and you have your podcast. So we want you all to participate and be part of the long-term recovery. Long-term recovery strategy. So that's what we're doing. So I'm gonna be having.
Okay, so they can actually go to our forums page. I just uploaded it, and on the forums page at the bottom it says special inclusion process. That's a link that'll take you right to the PDF.
And I can actually finally share it too. So
okay, cool.
I think you see it.
Let's see.
Yeah. So the more we're out here on this podcast or in these streets, and people are approaching us, emailing us, talking to us, if they're giving us information and or assistance, we're going to bring it here and share it. If anybody happens to say, oh, we got X millions of dollars, how do we get it to you all? We're going to put it through our foundation, and then make sure that we meet as board members. We may have input from community leaders or whatever as well, to make sure that any money that comes into us, we funnel directly to our community. So we're getting calls and emails, and as we continue to do that, we will continue to make things happen as much as we can, or at least share the information for you all.
True indeed. True indeed. Love it.
Okay.
So did anybody else do anything this weekend? Go to any of these events? We'd love to hear some feedback. See what you
Yes.
did. Maybe it's something we
The
didn't
public
share
wants
about.
to know.
The public. We want the public to tell us what the public wants to know.
Exactly.
So, we might need to do a schedule of who's going to what on the weekend so we can go to different ones. Like I don't think either of you are going to the park, Loma Alta this weekend, but I plan on being there at 9 a.m. Because that also
I'm
starts.
gonna make that a priority because
Me
last
too.
week I couldn't. This past weekend it was booked. I couldn't do anything. But
Yes. I know I'm going to that. And then I will probably, on the way back home, stop by Jackie's thing at 1. Because I know Loma Alta is like 9 to 12. So then I'll leave there and try to go to her Pilates studio event in Monrovia at 1. But as we get things, like, we can figure it out. And I can take video and all that in Monrovia at that event, Brian.
okay.
Yeah, Jackie's Pilates thing.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Ooh, hey, what you doing now?
And I think there's going to be a lot more stuff happening.
So what's going on at the park? They're rebuilding, clearing debris. They need volunteers to go up and help out. So that's where we'll be this weekend.
So Eric, there is the park is going to reopen in May. The county was gifted $2.5 million from part of that wildfire relief concert that happened, that Ellen and the Williams sisters were up on the stage. And so from 9 to 2 every Saturday in April, they want volunteers to come out because they will provide PPE. We're not going to have to clean up, but they are rebuilding. The LA Dodgers has committed to building 2 dream fields, so we won't have to do that. But there will be things like painting, planting. They say clean, but we're not going to be doing debris removal cleaning. Yes, they're going to provide PPE, but there might be other little things that we need to clean, or we need to clean up after we paint or plant. But every Saturday in April from 9 to 2, they want the community to come out and get involved and do this. So I think, and I said this last week, it's great for the community to be involved and be there and do as much of it and give us that sense of community back in Altadena. But at the same time, I said, I also think that $2.5 million that was raised for wildfire victims would have been better suited going to house some people that still are looking for places to rent or are in Airbnbs or to their rebuild efforts. Again, $600 million was raised, so I'm assuming that later in the process, because they've given grants to a bunch of places and organizations, but I think that later they may reserve a lot of that $600 million for directly going to people to rebuild their houses. That is my hope anyway. But and Ida, I had told you about sending me your info on your dad being a Black veteran, that some of the money would be going towards those. And so you sent me yours. My dad, a few people sent me their parents who were veterans, and I sent that information on. And I believe it is also going to be coming out of that fire relief fund, because when I was asked about it, they said there's $100 million raised. But then I think somehow it's been combined with that $600 million. So it is some of that money, but it's for the county to get this park back up and running. And then who knows when Farnsworth will be redone, Charles White, Altadena Golf Course, whatever, because they're using them for things for debris. But let me tell you, remember we talked about that Lario construction, or the area you could see off the 210 where they were doing all the debris in DeWarty? And DeWarty and Azusa residents were like up in arms and had meetings. So last weekend on my way home, I passed it and it's no longer there. They're not doing the immediate debris removal there. But yesterday, Saturday, when I was on my way to DeWarty for this memorial, I decided to take the streets because sometimes I just don't want to get on the 210, right? So I decided to take the streets.
I don't ever want to get on the 210.
Right. And I always take like Arrow. I go down my street to like Barranca up across to Arrow. And then I just take it through to where you can turn, where to be Buena Vista or Avenida Day, something where all of the quarries and all that are.
Yeah, isn't that Irwindale?
All the trucks now are taking concrete. And, people been complaining about them recycling this concrete at Altadena Golf Course. So I saw, and I should have stopped while I was driving and videoed some of it. And because I guess it's moved there now, because all that area where they already have the concrete and the quarry and the whatever they're doing, all the trucks are pulling in there. It's south of City of Hope on Buena Vista, all the way almost at the end, before you would curve around to go to where all the car parts are.
Oh, that part now.
And they're taking all these trucks, and I could see all this cement. I was like, oh, they're no longer going to Lario. Now they're going here, which kind of makes sense because all those rock quarries and, cement and all that is already there. And so they found another spot that it looks like it's down in a gulch kind of or whatever. And all the trucks are going into the driveway and going down in there and coming out empty. So
recycling.
Yeah. So that's where I think they're moving now some of the stuff, especially if they're going to try to break up and recycle this concrete or whatever they're doing with it.
It's not a bad thing, right? They should have probably thought about that before because it's away from large communities of people and it's probably already doing something like that.
Exactly.
So
although it may not be the toxic
stuff,
but yeah, it's a little less than, and it's more downwind because it's in the area where it's below the 210 quite a bit, where the 605 goes south. So it's all those quarries and all that when you pass that empty those areas. So I saw it Saturday and I was like, okay, that's maybe a better area. But that Lario site that was Lario Park or whatever that was over there in DeWarty off the 210 where you could see it on the north side, it's definitely not being disposed of there anymore.
Interesting. They obviously irritated the folks enough to get that changed.
Well, they fought it. Like, how you just gonna bring this into our backyard and not say anything, right?
That's my point.
And that's what it is. You got to fight for what's best for you and your community.
Gotta fight for your right to remove debris.
And my whole thought, or what I was talking about when I was saying, well, I don't know that when there's people that still aren't housed, you should be given 2.5 to rebuild a park quickly that's going to open in May, because ain't nobody really up there that's going to be using the park.
You still got houses that are still getting debris cleared.
Exactly.
And they're still going to provide a toxic air quality situation.
Exactly. So the
kids, having my kids go out there playing
and play, right?
Getting rheumatoid arthritis and juvenile diabetes from the toxic waste air.
Wow.
I'm just making up new diseases that cause that.
Yeah, you are.
You tell older people I had juvenile diabetes. They're like,
yeah.
You're like, what?
I don't know, man.
So yeah, it's
sometimes
it's interesting that that shifted, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah. So I wonder if there's any chance that they'll move it from Altadena Golf Course. Because I know that's temporary. I know that's temporary, so to speak.
Well, so it's supposed to
be.
They're not happy because it's
right there.
They still got a gang of people who live there. I know why they're unhappy. Yeah.
But to remove it and put it there is one thing. But then to recycle it there, when you start crushing concrete that has asbestos in it and is toxic from the fires, all you're doing is, and you're not doing it in an enclosed environment. All those people that live on Mendocino and Hill and all of that, Holliston, that house didn't burn.
Mushroom cloud of smoke.
It's just mushroom cloud of death, right? Yeah. It's just like, what are y'all doing? So the people, I think I read something on the Star News yesterday, how they're really like making an uproar about it, which they should. So, we'll see what happens. And then on the other side, where Allen is and Calavera, all those homes over there too. It's like it's surrounded by homes. So that's not the wisest decision to start trying to recycle it or whatever, break it down. It was one thing to even say, oh, we're going to move it into that area, right? But then now you're going to do the next process. I think it would be better suited to take it either over there where I just talked about or somewhere like that that's open, right? Like, I get it if they have the small dumps, taking it to immediate removal spots, but then have that stuff put on them big double trucks that can haul it out to California
Timbuktu.
City or China Lake or Edwards or something that, and I don't mean to say Cal City doesn't have people, but in the desert, right? Where
I drive through there on the 58, and that town has no one there. First
right,
of all, the town is like 20 miles away from the 58. So
right. I've been there in China Lake. When I was stationed at Edwards, we had to go deploy to China Lake in Cal City. And I'm like, good God. This is like going up the 14 till it ends at Mojave, right? Before you hit the 58.
Where they bury the dead bodies and no one can.
Right. And ain't nobody, take it there. You know, is my thoughts. Take it to somewhere out in Lancaster that's way out that doesn't have any community around it somewhere. Because if you take the 138 from Palmdale to the 15, that's a whole lot of desert.
Right.
So,
well, where did the Lancaster and Palmdale people dump anyway? Don't they got a dump out there?
Well, and they probably do, but it's probably not hazardous waste, right? Or hazmat material. So
as much military stuff is up there, they got a hazardous waste dump spot somewhere.
Let me tell you, that dry lake bed and Boron, where we used to, like, when planes crash.
Boron, yeah, that's the spot where you can see the whole, like, installation 20 miles back.
Let me tell you something.
Remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind? That's what that place looks like when you're driving by.
Let me tell you, when I first got out of basic and I had orders to go to Panama, and I told y'all a long time ago about that story where I was like, I can't go there because it's some sloths. And I was like, that's why I didn't go. I didn't know Spanish because I took French, right? And I was like, I ain't speaking Spanish, but I'm not going to Panama because that was my very first orders out of basic. I was like, it's sloths there. I cannot go to Panama because it's some sloths.
You could outthink a sloth. I mean, come on.
It could be bugs, gators, snakes, who knows what. My brain said
you
cannot go to
Panama. Them up on the back of their neck and they'll be like,
I don't care. They were so creepy to me that I was like, oh, I can't go to Panama. So when you get out of your tech school, and I was law enforcement, you can swap a set of orders, right? So my roommate in tech school was from Minot, North Dakota. So why not Minot? Like, she was like, please, can I swap? I'll go to Panama. Because, you know, the weather and all that. Because North Dakota be like 50 below football. And all that. And I was like,
but you still, people still speaking a language you can understand.
I said, where are your orders? She said, Edwards Air Force Base, California. I said, oh, come on, let's swap. I said, because that's at home. I said, that's an hour and a half drive, hour and 15-minute drive. And if I take the 2, it's going to be 45 minutes. So we swapped. And that wound up being my first base. So because I was in, you know, law enforcement, security specialist, whatever, we guarded like the flight line, right? We walked around all the aircraft. We went up to the across the dry lake bed, up the mountain. There's a lab up there. We had to guard that. And whenever, and you know, that's the test base. So they would build planes, Northrop Grumman or whoever would build planes and test them at Edwards. So the very first stealth, before it became known as a stealth, crashed in the Boron Desert. And we had to immediately deploy to that site to secure it because the stealth was top secret. A B-52 crashed and we had to go out there. And that's my first, at 18 and 19 years old, seeing dead bodies for people that didn't eject because the plane went down and the plane's burning and their body's still on fire or arm is over here or whatever, which is part of why I have PTSD, y'all. And so it's just such a trip because Boron, they could take all that crap out there because you're right. You can see it's just dry.
Boron for morons.
and for real. And you'd be like, okay. And so we would have to drive from the base every shift and go work these 12-hour shifts out there to guard the planes that crash and stuff. But Boron is out in the desert. They could take all this stuff to Boron and burn it like a fire pit because nobody's around there, literally. Planes have crashed.
I remember when we were in Ohio, we used to go to the gas station and my mom said, can you fill it up with boron? And I'm like, boron? Then I come out here and see that there's a city called Boron. I said, my mom, is that where the gas came from? Boy, don't be stupid.
Like now,
sometimes you ask questions. You know, we on our way to Vegas said, don't ask me no questions about the city again when we pass it. Because I always ask her, hey, Mom, ain't that the gas you used to put in your car in Ohio? Stop asking questions.
Now don't ask nothing, just don't ask no questions, period. Shut your mouth.
was like that kid that was real inquisitive when we're driving places. I'll never say, "Are we there yet?" I'll just say, "Hey, Mom, have you ever been to that city?" Boy, you know we haven't. We've been together in this car all our lives. We ain't never been to that city. Stop asking that same question.
You were the curious one. So for the weekend recap, was there anything else that anybody did? I mean, I gardened, you gardened, he slept, thank goodness, because he's team no sleep, and he slept a lot. None of us got to any of the outings. We know that this was the second weekend of Jazzy Jam, and is it 2 more or 1 more?
Two more. This weekend and the following weekend.
Yeah, the 5th and the 12th weekends of that, or actually the 4th, because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe, on both weekends.
And yes, they did have the farmers market at
Farrell's
Burger. It's like every Saturday. We just didn't announce it because we only had that one thing. But my friend Brandon called me up. He said, "Man, they have some good cheeseburgers up there." I said, "Yeah, thanks, man. I've been waiting to get some of them delicious burgers."
It will be ending.
When?
Yeah, we got to find out though.
Because I can put up that original flyer that had cheeseburgers on Wednesdays.
No, so this is information I got yesterday at that meeting. And Lena said that the lady, Shirley and whoever run it, said that I think it's 2 more weekends.
Christy.
Huh?
No, Christy is one of the sisters that run.
Okay.
Wait, were you talking about the We Out Here or the Farrell's Burger?
The Farrell's Burgers, the farmers market, all that stuff. Apparently, they can only afford to do it for 2 more weeks.
Huh.
They won't be able to continue providing free food for the community. The farmers market, I'm not sure, but definitely how they've been issuing out, like last weekend was the pancakes and burritos, and they've been providing free food and all of that. Because of some of the stuff that's coming down from the federal level with grants and money being canceled, the people that have been supplying her with some of that to be able to cook, I guess it's drying up. And I believe she said it's only going to be 2 more weeks that they can afford to do it. I'll confirm that tomorrow. But I'll be able to say it confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that's what Lena said yesterday, Lena Kennedy, when she was at our meeting. So,
so this coming up weekend and the following weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get the final word from you tomorrow or soon.
Definitely.
And that's too bad because I know a lot of folks be showing up, and they did have that rally. They had a rally up there about Altadena not being for sale. I didn't post that because I wasn't sure, like I mentioned on Friday, what exactly was going to happen. Were they trying to march? Were they, what they were trying to achieve? But I guess they were just talking, and they had performers and just.
So it's basically what they did last month. Which was they were on Fair Oaks, right above the mobile gas station, right below the church, in that open space. Below the parking lot. There's that open greenery or whatever. And they just have like the Altadena Not For Sale, the blue shirts. It's a bunch of people that have gotten together. And yes, they have I guess they call it a rally or whatever, but they just talk about it. They did have a section the Saturday I went where people could face paint like kids or whatever and do paintings. Then they have somebody that's selling their merchandise that says Altadena Not For Sale, t-shirts, signs, whatever. And then they had this community group. They were like playing bongos and all of that and kind of singing. So I guess they're just it's another one of those, and they're trying to support each other or the community. I know what's Lift Church, Micheline's husband.
You talking about Anthony McFarland?
Thank you. Yeah, he is involved in it, and some girl named Heather or something, and several others. But anyway, that's what
My Tribe Rise and
My Tribe Rise. Yeah. So I know that they did one last month that I showed up on a Saturday because they said they were going to march, but they didn't. And then I'm pretty sure that what they recently had was that.
Fair Oaks Burger has pictures and videos from it. It seemed like it was well attended. So that's cool. I'll promote it next time if they do it again. I got a better understanding what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and I think that they're trying to be more vocal as well because, so many more lots are popping up for sale. Mm-hmm. And but what I always try to say here is people are getting really upset about people selling their lots, but nobody knows anyone's situation.
Correct.
And so if it's someone in their 90s, they don't have any kids, no family or whatever, and they feel like, look, I'm not up for, or in their 80s or 70s, I'm not up for trying to rebuild. This could take years. I know I could sell this lot and live off of that somewhere. So people have already said like, hey, I was going to move out of California anyway. Now this affords me the opportunity to move and right? I choose to give people grace and not be mad at them because I don't know anyone's situation. And if there's anyone that are Altadenians that don't live in Altadena, that live out of state and want to move back and can afford to buy the lot and then build on top of it, come buy that lot. Yeah. It's right. It's available, right? So it's such a touchy subject, and I know it is because, like I said, if my parents, I think initially they were like, yeah, we'll live in this apartment. We're not going to rebuild. And I didn't say it to them, but I did tell them, oh, we are going to rebuild. And then my mother was like, you can't say what we're going to do or whatever. And I told both my siblings, I said, check this out. We're going to rebuild. If I got to sell my house in San Dimas to rebuild on that lot, then that's what we're going to do. Is that clear? And they were like, yeah, we're going to have Bailey Manor 2.0. And I was like, hey, whatever it takes, right? And that's just how I felt. But
your mama looking at it going, oh, Tony. Looking at the podcast right now.
Oh, right now. Oh, yeah. My mama, my parents know who they raised, who their child is. But and they know Tony is going to say what, whatever.
Hey, because some people ain't taking care of their parents like they should. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we keep bringing that up, and that ain't cool.
Yeah, I can't imagine not. Like my parents take care of us our whole lives, including our kids.
Pretty much.
So how do you not? But no, I was dead serious. And now they've gotten to the point that they're ready to discuss it and ready to meet with people to see what they can do to rebuild their home. But at first, when they were talking about, no, we don't think I was like, bush. Oh, we gonna rebuild.
Simple.
Right. That's how I felt. I was like, ain't no way. If I gotta sell mine, build yours. That's what's gonna happen. So yeah. I'm glad that more people now are. Obviously, this will never be something that they ever get over, right? No. They'll be able to process little by little. Deal with it. They continue to grieve and then get to that next phase, but they'll never get over this event and what has happened. But that's true, Marcus. Where the waste is going. That's very true. But yes, if somebody does choose to sell, it could be, that people lost a parent in the house, right? And they live out of state and they're like, that fire took my parent, my last surviving parents, or both my parents, or whatever, right? So I don't want anything to do with that property again. It might be just that devastating that people feel like I gotta sell because I gotta get rid of that. So whatever people's reasonings are for selling, whether it's 1 or 100 that are up for sale, we got 6,600 homes to rebuild. And
yeah, it's just 1 out of 100 every sale. I mean, the lady across the street from us, man, she had the most beautiful house on the street. It was really done. She planned it out
with that wood. Yeah. I mean that
yeah. She just put her stuff up for sale. There's a for sale sign up there now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she had a beautiful fireplace. It was made out of stone.
That stone was gorgeous when we went up there.
Trying to grab her cheese and go. But like you said, Tony, you just don't know people's situation, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
People have the right to do what is right for them.
Exactly.
And whether we agree with it or not. And it's inevitable. Some percentage of these homes or lots were definitely going to be sold. And all we can do is hope that whoever buys them ultimately builds a home and lives under the same kind of philosophy that everybody else lived in Altadena. Yeah. And it's pretty has that same community mindset.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's the hope, right? But again, I'm not gonna be pissed off at people because they sold their lot. When you look at people that have had these lots 50, 60, 70 years, 40 years, to have that devastation and be like, oh, okay. Or they may just decide, yeah, this isn't for me. And not because of the proximity to the mountains or whatever, but just it's too devastating to even think about, redoing. And rebuilding is all going to be a new house. Nothing in it is going to be, except what you were able to get out before the fire. Nothing in it is going to be that again. So that might be too much for people. I know a couple of people yesterday were talking about how overwhelmed and devastated they still are. And when they've put in their ROE and checked a month later or 2-3 weeks later and a month later, and they're still saying, we never got it. And they're like, here it is right here with your stamp. Yeah, let me send it to you again, right? And papers. And somebody was saying by the end of the year, they're going to run out of their ALE to rent a place. And then what are they going to do?
Right.
So, yeah.
We were talking about, I was telling Sherry, it's like when they build your mom's house back, but guess what you're not going to have? She goes, well, I said junk to put into the garage. So you can turn that into an ADU. You can build a second story. You can have multiple units next. Right. Yeah, do that before. Because, how many
going to happen over time if nothing else is
how many people had BS in their garage just sitting there forever, holding on to the hoarderism.
Stop talking about me, man. Stop talking about me. That is not
you
right.
See my
how many times I cleaned the garage out and it still was full of stuff?
That is not cool, man.
Let me tell you, Brian, I immediately started thinking, I have a storage I've been paying on in Pomona for like 5 years. Ridiculous. I'm going to clean it out. I have my garage where I have racks with, the bins that are black with the yellow lids.
I got like 20 of them downstairs.
I got at least 20 in my garage, but hold up. That's just the garage. Then my garage has an attic and there's stuff in there, Christmas stuff, all that. Then I have 3 sheds in my backyard that all have stuff. And so after the fire, I'm like, people lost everything. Why in the heck do I have all this? So I've got clothes.
The fire hazard storage.
I've got clothes that are size 0, and these hips ain't a 0 no more. And clothes that are 2 and 4s, and these hips ain't a 2 and a 4 no more. And I'm telling people like me, I got clothes that I've worn 2 or 3 times max. I've got stuff that have tags. I used to get shoes, you order online and they send, and for some reason they weren't charging me double, but they were sending me double shoes and boots every time. So I have shoes and boots that I've never worn because the ones that I did wear, I got a duplicate in one of the sheds. And I'm telling people like, can you come to my house and get some of these clothes? Like you and your girls who lost everything, and the girls are a size 0 or 2 or whatever. Like I have stuff y'all can have. I buy quality stuff. And so I got tons of stuff, like, please. And somebody was like, why don't you just sell it? And I'm like, because there's people that need it and I could be a blessing instead of putting it up for sale on Poshmark or whatever. And so, but that and stuff that I'm like, why do I have it? I need to get rid of it because I haven't used it in a couple years and it's sitting. And if something like this were to happen and my house went up in smoke, guess what? It'd be gone instantly.
Right.
And would I remember or would I miss it? No. So if people can use it and I got good quality stuff, like come get it. I got brand new stuff. So yeah, you're right, Jamal. Don't be talking about us, Brian, because we got stuff in our garages.
I'm just saying I had a whole bunch of stuff in there too, and everything got burned up.
Exactly.
Bye.
So it's just like
whoosh, there it is. Whoosh. We're going to have to make all kinds of songs for this album.
Yeah, Stogie Man, you're right. Whatever steps are taken, whatever people choose to do, the rebuild is personal. I know, Brian, you commented on it. This was over the weekend on the Altadena. It was a beautiful Altadena Facebook page. And I don't know, Shauna
Beer, with the people that were doing the housing renderings.
Catalog. No, Foothill Catalog. So Shauna Beer, I guess, is a administrator of the page, but some of these people act like they're dictators, and they act like you don't have freedom of speech, and they act like, oh, well, what I say goes on this page. Girl, miss me, right?
Like, well, you know what I said. I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but that looks like it's going to be expensive to build, and we don't know how much it's going to cost to build. So,
well, and my thing
renderings.
is, I've posted things on there like about all the builders and all that, and it wasn't approved or whatever. This dude, Kevin Daly, that was first choice, was talking about he had posted stuff and it had been taken down. So then Shauna on Friday or Saturday post about the Foothill collection, which is people that have volunteered their time, different architects or whatever, that are like, oh, we're going to make all of these plans for Altadena to rebuild. And, oh, you pulled it up. Okay, Foothill catalog. Thank you. And it's cool that they can do that. But the way she posted it was like, oh, here people should, whatever. And I was like, we shouldn't be promoting that people all get Foothill catalog homes, right? Because there were mid-century, there were ones that looked like stucco with the roofs, the Spanish tile roofs and all of that, and that's great. But these are all being done by architects. We don't know what the cost of these plans are going to be. And what I've noticed is a lot of people keep promoting Foothill catalog on these Altadena, beautiful Altadena or Altadena, California pages. So I don't know if they're connected to them or whatever, but that's my thing. If we're going to promote, let's promote what everybody is saying. Hey, I'm a builder, not like, this is the group right here, or this is the catalog because we think it will be all looking like Altadena. No, there's 5 or 6 plans, but then it's going to look cookie cutter if everybody has the same ones just from the Foothill catalog.
Like when I walk outside right now, I can't even tell which house I live in because they all look the same.
Yeah.
Don't let me get to walk around the block. Like if my car wasn't parked in front, I wouldn't know where it's at.
The one beautiful thing about what has happened, it depending upon how you look at it, is there's enough homes that were destroyed so that no one group, one builder, one style of home is gonna, take precedent over everything.
It's gonna dominate Altadena.
No, it's not gonna dominate. There's gonna be clusters here, clusters there, and it already was that, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's gonna be a very eclectic or very unique group of housing, and that's the beauty of Altadena. We can build whatever we want, right?
Because let me tell you something.
Cool,
baby. Them container homes are fire. And I've heard people like, don't have a container home. That takes away from Altadena. Shut up. If somebody wants to build a container home and they get plans approved, let them build it. If somebody has plans and wants to build their exact same home back, let them build it.
Do it. Yep.
It's the choice of the people who lost everything, what they choose to build back. And if the county approves their plans and gives them a permit, don't nobody else have nothing to say about it. And I know, when my parents were here the other day, my dad was asking me for my thoughts, just like my thoughts on stuff. And my mom has made it very clear that this is their house. And it's like, yeah, we know, right? But he was asking my thoughts, and I started telling him, and she was like, no. I said, he asked me my thoughts. And because she's trying to make it clear, like, this me and your dad's house, so we're gonna build back, and we know that. But if you're asking what are my thoughts or whatever, then so be it. I can just express that. At the end of the day, y'all are gonna figure out what you want to do with it. But one thing I am really glad about is what we talked about last week, and that's the additional square footage that people can add, because that gives the clarity on that 10%. Or 200 square feet, whichever is greater. Yeah, them houses be.
That's a container home, y'all.
Yes, it is.
Just like you know.
I'll buy that for $1.
For those that were unaware.
That's about 10 containers right there, and you can get containers like 2,000 to 4,000 a piece. Yeah. Oh. I've looked at details.
Yeah, they don't cost about $5,000.
Right.
I was looking them up before the fire happened.
I was too. I was like, if I ever decide to pull this down, I'm gonna do something with container. Come on. So, and it depends on the size of the container. That's why you can get them as low as 2,000 up to 4,000 or 5,000. If you
well, it also depends on if you want cutouts and stuff. I would do the cutouts myself.
Yeah, it's metal. Get a grinder or something that's gonna cut through that. Like
just
you can do all
metal
that
saw, and
you could do siding so it looks like it's stucco and all that stuff. So you'd never even know it was
brick, the faux brick, whatever, all that fireproof stuff on top.
And you put insulation on the inside so it stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter.
Yeah. But I've heard, people said, no, we don't want that in Altadena. And I'm like, you can't
Tell
Yes,
people.
what they could do. Right, what allows them to heal. Exactly.
Uh, what he
And if
said.
somebody chooses a igloo, let them build that. If they choose a hobbit home that's covered in
I want to live in the Shire.
exactly, let them build that if that's what they want to
Let
build.
me live in the Shire. Where's Frodo?
But you know, they have that. Like when I lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, when we were stationed down there for a while, they are still building, because a lot of the reservations, they still build stuff that's strong as all get out of straw and
Well, you see the adobe
mud.
homes in Mexico. They mix it
Hello,
with
the
mud and
adobe
water,
homes.
let it dry. Mix another
Somebody
layer of
just
mud and water,
posted
let it
something
dry.
about Adobe homes. There was a house
Adobe
that was
homes.
in one of those recent fires that the firemen posted in front of them because they knew they were like, "Your house is good, nothing's gonna happen."
Adobe ain't
All
it's
the
dirt.
others are gone, and
Right.
theirs is up and running.
It's mud and
Marcus, did you
straw
see
and all
that
of that.
too?
And they have you could build an Adobe home that is fired. It looks super
No,
bomb.
Ziva sent that.
And and yeah, they're amazing. So if somebody wants to do an Adobe home or a Hobbit home that's covered like a mountain with grass, whatever, let people do what they want to do. And that's the thing on that Altadena Facebook page, that Shauna girls. Well, no, we need to do this and that. No, mind your business and do what's good for you, and let other
Yeah, we
Altadenians figure
actually
out
you
what they
present
want.
stuff to people and let them make a decision. That's why
That's why
we
we
do
try
the
to do what
town
we do.
halls. That's why everyone's doing town halls, because
So you
it's
can have
more
an
than
educated
people
decision.
around. It's not like the 4 or 8 builders that Tony brings to town halls are going to be the ones that everyone's going to go with.
Right.
There's going to be other builders. There's going to be other people. It all depends on how well you present your stuff and how often. Because if you have 1 or 2 town halls and you don't do nothing for the next 3 months, 4 months, well, no one's going to remember who you are.
Yeah.
So
they may not.
that's why we've already had a follow-up. Yeah, we already had a follow-up to the last one, which was on a Zoom, which was available for everyone to see. It's right there on the YouTube page on AltadenaTalks.
And we're going to keep doing them as we get information. That's the biggest thing, right? And continue to engage with the public and tell them, look, this is the latest and greatest on firescaping or these products, or, oh, we got to answer back on the sprinklers, or, oh, we got to answer back on the solar, or, whatever. Like if the state is going to be sticklers or whatever. That stuff
and
we will
also let us know. Tony, you probably have to give me that builder's vetted form so I can put it on the website, because we need, if you got a builder or you know a builder and they want to get vetted to be on the show, please. That's the gauntlet you have to walk in order to get on the show, because we like to tell everybody the truth about things, so we find out information. We don't want to bring you a builder who's got 20 complaints, who's got this and that, because we didn't look out for them. We made that mistake one time early on. We'll never do it again. And we even tried to help this person. Me? This was before before you.
Before you came
right before you. We brought some. We'll talk about this off screen. But we brought somebody on, and they was not ready.
How funny!
Like you said, we tried to assist with that, and it worked out. We made it work.
Yeah, it worked out, but we had to give them some pointers. Like, look, you gonna be. We vetted her right there on the spot.
Yeah, we did that live. But hey, it is what it is. All we can do is hope that the intentions were legit. And just some more preparation had to be had, and we learned to do our due diligence before we brought folks on here. So that's how it is.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Oh, you restarted it. Good.
Yeah, I saw your message. I wasn't going to, but I decided, what the hey.
Doesn't hurt. So I wonder if over time that won't be limited, because your personal one isn't.
I know, that's so strange. No, it used to do it. Remember, it used to cut off. Now it's not. I guess they got till June or something, because they're doing everybody by June.
Okay.
Like June 23rd or something. They're not allowing you to keep your lives on and not allowing you to do a lot of things. So
folks, we're talking about the changes to all these social platforms. Like Instagram doesn't allow you to go live beyond an hour. It'll shut it down. And then you got to restart it. And
Facebook is not letting you keep lives after 30 days.
Yeah.
So YouTube is where we really try to push people to. The other social media platforms are just for your convenience. Like right now, we're broadcasting to my personal page, Tony's personal page, Jamal's personal page, Style Click Media, 2 YouTube pages, and 2 Instagram pages. And we're probably going to, in about another couple of weeks, we'll probably be able to broadcast to like over 30 different places. So the whole thing is we're trying to get this out there to the masses because there's still a lot of people. I mean, we got 6,600 people that lost their homes. We get about 500 to 1,000 people that watch this show. And this show is the only show that I know of that's actually telling you about stuff that's happening every day for Altadena residents and things that are going on. I haven't seen anyone else come on yet. I mean, I would encourage you to start your own podcast and do something, because if you're really about your benevolency, if you're really about giving back to the community, this is what we do to give. This takes our time out of our day. We do research. We vet people. This is almost like a full-time job. Luckily for us, we all work from home, so we can do our jobs as we do this. But like at the same time, please, if you're not going to make a podcast and you have people that that have had their houses messed up, just share the podcast. I mean, it's not like we're trying to make millions of dollars here. We don't make any money. This is just for us to be able to help people out. This is our way of giving back. I don't know nobody else that's doing this right now. I don't know no one else right now that has 3 people dedicated to telling you about information every day, Monday through Friday. I mean, I would love to see more people doing it, but nobody has the initiative or the ambition or the resilience to keep this up daily. It's a lot of work. So, yeah, like I said, the longest running podcast in the world. Talking about Altadena. No, but for real, we encourage people to start this stuff up. If you'd invite us on as your guest, we'll come on there and talk about the stuff that we've done and learned and going through. I mean, the whole thing is about sharing information. It's not about hoarding it. It's not about giving you gifts. It's just about telling you where things are and how things are going and keeping you abreast of the different situations. Like the ROEs are extended to the 15th. FEMA is not. Today is the last day. Red Cross has been killed theirs, or theirs was today is the last day, or whatever. But as we give, you got to remember, I kept telling everybody, we're going to get a couple of months of gung-ho-ness, and then people are going to start dropping off, falling off, not putting on these events. Because the events cost money.
Yeah, they do.
For the town hall event, we came out the pocket. We got some sponsors from some of the builders, but we came out the pocket to make this happen. So the whole point is, we're doing this for our community. We're not doing this for self-gratification or self-monetization. This is done from the beautiful kindness of our hearts, and because we're suffering with you. I'm a living proof of it. I was on a podcast last night, and Brandon asked me, "So how are you feeling through all this?" I said, "Man, this is torture, because we talk about it every day. And I'm now obligated to assist people with different things because I went through the fire, I went through the aftermath, and this has only been, 3 months almost? 8 more days will be 3 months, 9 more days.
Damn, a quarter.
Yeah, we're at the quarter of the year of it. It happened in January, so we're at the first new quarter coming up next month or tomorrow. And, we got another 8 days. It'll be 3 months since the fire. Seems like it's been longer than that because we're all displaced. And, I live out here in Santa Clarita. I was coming to Pasadena every day. It was costing me $400 a month in gas, or $500. I was spending about $100 a week because it's 80 miles round trip to go to Pasadena and back here. Not to mention, I got to drive around to go to different events. So,
and your clients and everything too.
Yeah, that too. I'm not doing this in between everything. So we are trying to make sure that you guys get the information you deserve from a source that you can rely on. We're trying to tell you the truth. We ain't sitting here lying. We ain't trying to bribe you. All we're trying to do is just give you a path. And this is our 54th episode straight, Monday through Friday. And we're just here for our Altadena folk. That's bottom line. I'm going to give you an update. The smoke shop next to the Rancho is starting to get its debris cleared. No telling what the Rancho is going to do, but the street is starting to look a lot better. I drove up there Saturday, just driving through. I went to our property, saw that they start clearing out stuff there between now and the next door. That's when I found out the lady across the street is selling their property. So, ain't no sense in going up there every day, because every day things not gonna change. Every week, every 2 weeks, they will call you when you get ready 72 hours before they come to clear the whole thing, because there's a pool back there, and they got certain things about clearing around or on pools, but they did get all the debris out of the pool. There's some trees that need to be cut down and stuff like that, but it's moving along. It's moving quicker than what we thought it was going to be. So, and that's all. And I still can't bowl yet because my finger is swollen up. Look how swollen up this.
Why are you giving us a finger like that, man?
I'm giving you 2 fingers so you can see this finger is swollen. Look at that swollen on that side.
Like
I can't even put my finger in the ball. Yeah, it's jacked up. The dog bit me.
Oh,
I was playing with him and pulling.
Did you bite him back?
No, I started to hit him, but I was like, it wasn't his fault. I'm playing with him, so I had to slow my roll and just go in the corner and cry. Oh, I hate you. I remember he used to say that to me. I hate you. Get your stuff jacked up. But yeah, can't enjoy any of my curricular activities I used to do. Because first of all, I live 60 miles away from the bowling alley instead of 27. That puts a damper in things, because by the time I finish, I'm ready to drive back home. I'm ready to fall asleep in the car.
Ready to go to sleep first, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to rest up for the ride back home.
The office that was donated to me, that I still haven't gotten there to actually set up yet, is the halfway point. So I usually stop by there and take a nap for a couple of hours and then come up here. So, but I haven't bowled in like 6 weeks because.
Well, it's okay. Those bowling leagues are like darn near a year long.
Oh yeah, you ain't got to tell me, brother. That's like having a kid.
It's crazy.
With your wife complaining. It's almost there, girl. It's almost there. Just a little bit more. So I guess we're at the point now where we're going to say, as Tony would say, toodles.
Deuces.
That you got anything else? G. Let's see what we got over here in Instagram. We got look around. The comedian came on. Just Courtney joined. Logan Amir joined earlier. Mosan, Jazz Bo 69 came on. Nobody came back on the rebroadcast, so we're not going to say nothing about that. But the people that came on before was Marcus. He joined over there, as well as Jazz Bo again. So Jazz Bo's all over the place. And shout out to Jazz Bo.
That Jazz Bo guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Right on, Jazz Bo. Thanks for supporting.
I like when I don't even see it now. What happened to the comment?
It's there. It's right about 4 or 5 above Marcus's.
Oh yeah, this one. Inside plug. All right, y'all. Well, it's time for me to get some breakfast because, of course, I never got that coffee. Remember, I had that request for the coffee.
Oh yeah, can you put that in and bring it?
I never got that. That's why I'm like
this. Go get your coffee. Go get some food. Hey, everybody! I hope y'all have a fantastic Monday and amazing week. We'll definitely be here tomorrow, but just want to encourage you, outside of the time you spend with us, to have a great week. And send us any new information. Marcus, again, thank you. I'll post a couple of the other things that you did share with me tomorrow and later on. And we appreciate you all. And if you get a chance, connect on the YouTube channel at AltadenaTalks.
Pretty soon the Facebook one will be available.
Yeah,
we'll try it tomorrow, April Fools.
But you can subscribe and like all those things, that way we get the analytics right. We can get it.
Just so you know, there's no April Fools on Tony Tar's show. She don't fool around in April.
No fooling around. He for
We
real.
appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
We
peace, you
out
guys.
of here. We out of here, cheer.
Out of 5,000, G.
Peace out, y'all.